I, Dr.Praveen Kumar, Associate Professor at the National Institute of Social Work and Social Sciences in the Department of Buddhist Studies, welcome all of you in the third episode of my lecture series. As I announced earlier the 2 Saturdays before that I am going to start on the Buddhist lecture series on different aspects of Buddhist philosophy. Last 2 Saturdays, I highlighted the Buddha philosophical as well as his social teachings and the methodology that how Buddha taught his disciple and ignorant people. Today, I am going to talk about the nature of the Buddha Dhamma. What is the Buddha Dhamma? What does it mean that the Dhamma taught by a Buddha? Based on my 15 years of the learning, I would like to inform that a Buddha Dhamma, it does not have any sectarian outlook. It is a Dhamma, this Dhamma is a universal in character. This Dhamma was taught by the Buddha, so it is taught by the Buddha, it is based on scientific and rational outlook. As it is based on scientific and rational outlook, so it is a universal in character. Just for the example that it is written in the Dhamma scripture, Nahi Veren Verani Shavantadik Udachanang Avarin Cha Shamantadik Es Dhammo Shanantanu. Hatred never appeased by hatred, it appeased by non-hatred. This is a law uniform, this is a law eternal, and this applies everywhere. Another important thing that if we try to develop a negative feeling, before we harm others, we harm ourselves by our negative feeling. Just for example, take example of in the anger. Anger is one of the biggest poison. As soon it arises within us, that it first harms a person and it harms anybody else is the latter. Another important thing that craving, what the Buddha told about the craving, that a craving is a pushal mole. Craving is a pushal mole. One of the most positive aspect of the nature of the Buddha Dhamma, that Buddha taught to the humanity that every entity in this world is impermanent. Shabde Shankhara Anicchati Yada Panyaye Pasati. Buddha sees it through his wisdom that every conditioned thing is impermanent in this world. Another important thing that the second teaching that Sabbe Sankhara Dukkhati, the whole world is a full Sabbe Sankhara Dukkhati Yada Panyaye Pasati. Buddha says that the world is full of suffering. He sees through his wisdom. And the third is a Shabbe Dhamma Anattati. There is no self. Unlike the Upanishad, Buddha does not believe in any permanent soul or a self. Now a question arises that how Buddha developed his wisdom, how he reached on this three characteristics on the conclusion and taught the humanity about the three characteristics of the world, this Anitya, Dukkha and Anatma. Buddha developed his wisdom through the Vipassana meditation. Vipassana was a method through which a Buddha developed himself and he attained knowledge that the whole world is full of impermanent and there is a suffering and there is no permanent soul or the self, and human body is made of in the 5 skandhas, that is a Rupa, Vedana, Shanya, Sankhara and the Vijnana. There are two types of the sensation. which Buddha realized through the Vipassana meditation. One is a pleasant sensation, another one is a unpleasant sensation. Everyone like to have a pleasant sensation and everyone unlike unpleasant sensation. Pleasant sensation everyone like to have a more and unpleasant everyone avoid it. But Buddha find it that not a pleasant is permanent, neither unpleasant is permanent. Where both of them are not permanent, then why to run after it? Why to run after it? Why to hanker after it? This teaching Buddha developed through the Vipassana meditation. Vipassana was a technique through which the Buddha came to know about the anityata of this world, and which through this technique he became detached to this world, and the whole he taught to the masses. And this is a technique through which that we can become detached to this world. So anityata theory that Buddha which he taught to the humanity was a unique in its nature. Then another important thing that Buddha read the mind of the human being, that is it occupies the most important place in the Buddhist teachings. As it is written in the Dhamma scriptures, Yamapaka of the Dhamma, that Mano Puvangama Dhamma, Mano Siddha Manomaya, Mansa Chepaduttena, Bhasati va Karoti va, Tato Natukkam Maniveti, Chakkang va Vahtopadam. That if we do or act something with a corrupt mind, then the suffering follows us. The second verse which talks that Mano Puvangama Dhamma, Mano Siddha Manomaya, Mansa che Prasanne, Bhasati va Karoti va, Tato na Sukham Manveti, Chaya va Anupayani. If we do or act something with a virtuous mind, then the happiness follows us. So, Buddha laid emphasis on the mind, that mind is a spring of our all action. He read human brain in very deeply, and he found that there are the two types of the moolas within the human brain. One is a kushal mool, another one is a akushal mool. Kushal mool is alov, adosh, amo, and akushal mool is lob, dosh, and moh. Buddha came to know about this the kushal mool or akushal mool through the bhavnamaya prajna, through the vipassana meditation. Through the vipassana meditation and the bhavnamaya prajna, he came to know about the mind psychology of the people and how it works. Another thing that if we are very much attached to this world, why we are attached to this world? It is because why we develop a craving, why we develop a aversion, why we develop ignorance. It is because of the nature of our mind. Mind is a very fickle. It jumps like a monkey from one branch of tree to the another branch of tree. As it is rightly written in the Dhamma scriptures that a fundelam chapalam chittam durakkham dunnivari ujum karoti medhavi uskaro vatesnam. Mind, chitta, this is a character of this chitta mind, that it jumps like a monkey from the one branch of tree to the another branch of tree. It is very hard to guard, it is very hard to restrain. But Buddha does not stop here. In the next sentence, he spoke that Ujum Karoti Medhavi Puskaro Vatesnam. One who is intelligent and enlightened, he strict his mind just in a way, just like in an arrow mixed arrow state. So I spoke of two important things, that the two important things it occupies very important place in the Buddhist philosophy, in the teachings of the Buddha, that one is a mind, another one is a chitta, which is equivalent to the mind, and through the Vipassana meditation, Buddha read the human brain. The Buddha was a great psychologist and he read human brain very deeply. and he came to know about this, came to know about the different type of the moolas, that Kushal Mool and Akushal Mool, and all he came to know through the Vipassana meditation, through the Bhavana Maya Pragya. So these are the two important aspects of the Buddha's, these two important aspects of the Buddha's teachings. Another teaching is the Four Noble Truth. That we all know that the Four Noble Truth, the Arya Shakti, it occupies the most important place in the Buddhist philosophy. That the Buddhist philosophy, it starts from here. Why this is called the Arya Shakti? This is called the Arya Shakti. This is called the Arya Shakti because this is Shakti. These are the Shakti, great Shakti, and this Shakti, it can be understood by the only the intelligent and enlightened ones. It is not possible for in the ordinary masses to understand such kind of in the Shakti, such kind of in the truth. And it was only possible for a Buddha, the enlightened person like a Buddha, to understand this Shakti, this four kind of the Shakti of this the world. That the first one is the suffering, the second one is the cause of suffering, the third one is a cessation of suffering, and the fourth one is a path leading to the cessation of suffering. Suffering, it occupies the most important place in the Buddhist literature. And Buddha was not such an alone philosopher who talked about the suffering. This a concept of suffering we find in another, the sixth philosophical school of our system. But Buddha was such an alone philosopher who described suffering, analyzed suffering very deeply, and he analyzed that there are the three kinds of suffering. One suffering is a physical suffering, dukkha dukkhada. As it is written that jati pi dukkha, zara pi dukkha, maranam pi dukkho, apiyehi sampyogo dukkha, piyehi vipiyogo dukkho, yapinchana lapti tampi dukkham shakitena pancha padanukhandapi dukkha. All these are the suffering: birth, old age, disease, sickness, association with unpleasant things, separation from the pleasant thing. All these are the suffering. Another one is a viparinam dukkhata, because there are certain things by getting this that one may become happy, but that is not a source of happiness because that is impermanent. In the moment when we achieve it, we become happy. In the moment when we lose it, we become sad, we become disappointed. And because that is impermanent, as I told earlier in the first part of my lecture, that Buddha told that the sabbe shankara anicchati yada payyaya pasati, Buddha sees it through his wisdom. And the third one is this shankara dukkhata, this rupa, vedana, sanya, shankara and vijnana, through which the human personality is made, and technically it is known as a nama. This is all a suffering because it does not exist even for a two consecutive moment. It is clearly written in the Pali scriptures that yad aniccham tam dukkham, whatever is impermanent, that is a suffering. The second noble truth is a cause of the suffering, which is technically known as a dukkha samudaya. This cause of suffering is a trishna, craving, and there are the three kinds of the craving. That the three kinds of the craving. One craving is a kam tanha, bhav tanha, and the vibhav tanha. And the third noble truth, that suffering can be ceased. And the fourth noble truth, the path leading to the cessation of the suffering, that is known as an eightfold path, which are as follows: that the right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right means of livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and the right meditation. If we critically and which are consistent divided into the Seel, Samadhi and the Pragya. Seel is a foundation of the all Kushal Dhammas according to the Buddhist teaching. This is the second stage, it comes under the Samadhi, and Buddha found, as I told, that Buddha found that the human mind, this Chitta, is a very fickle. So how it can be controlled? It can be controlled through the samadhi, which is of a two type, the samatha and vipassana. And the third one is a pragya, which means the emergence of enlightenment and the knowledge. And this the pragya, it is again divided into the three type of in the pragya. One is a shruttamay pragya, another one is a chintamay pragya, and the third one is a bhavnamay pragya. The shruttamay pragya, that we develop our knowledge by listening somebody else. The chintamay pragya, that we contemplate at the level of the intellect. And the bhavnamay pragya, this is a bhavnamay pragya, that is a first-hand knowledge, experimental knowledge. If we critically examine all these components of the Eightfold Path, we find that it is not extremely useful for the spiritual pursuit, but it is highly useful for our day-to-day life. We can lead a very peaceful, harmonious and successful life in this the world when we follow, if we walk on this the Eightfold Path. One, this is aspect of the nature of the Buddha Dhamma. Another is that the Buddha find that the infinite capacity, potentiality in the human being. Human being is a creator of his own fortune according to the Buddha's philosophy. He never encouraged his disciple to believe in some God or to some unseen power or to depend on the God, but he believed that it is your the action which can lead you through the highest bottom of life and the Nibbana. And in the Dhamma, it is clearly written that the apamad is the highest thing. Apamado amatpadang pamado machuno padang apamattana miyanti epamatta yathamata. So apramad, through the apramad, we can touch that the highest goal of our life. And according to the Buddha teaching, that we don't require to depend on any supernatural power or to other power. Buddha time and again he said that Tume hi kitchap atapang akkhataro tathagato. Tume hi kitchap atapang akkhataro tathagato. I will show you a path and you have to walk on that. This is the greatest contribution of the Buddha to the human mankind. Another important thing, that as Buddha was a very practical teacher, he was a practical philosopher, he was aware of the fact that everyone cannot be a sadhu and sannyasi, everyone cannot be moved to the monks and the nuns. So he laid stress on the economic aspect of the human being. There are various Pali Suttas which talks about the Buddha's views on the economy. That there is one suttas like Koot Danda Sutta, here the Buddha says that the farmer should be provided proper sales, businessman should be provided proper capital to carry out his business. So the Buddha Dhamma is a such kind of a Dhamma which talks about every aspect of a life, and through which that we can transform one individual life, as well as there can be a big transformation take place in the world at large, at social, political, economic and the